Yes. Chief Soldat Rebel, I'm very happy with him. Very simple. That is it. They are making their full stop.
Okay, so I would like first to recognize the president of the team of the Faculty of Human Development, also the president of the lecturers, Master Nuana Kish, followed by Paulino Dena Jam, and all of you, my colleagues, I really recognize you. So, my name is Jamas Walcha, Faculty of Human Development, Department of Community Development. So the topic of my research is the role of the women groups in the community development. Case study, the National Ministry of Gender, Child and Social Welfare, Juba. So my research contains of 5 subtests. And within these 5 subtests, I'm really going to talk about the chapter 1, the first one. So within chapter 1, I'm going to give the recommendations. So my recommendations so my objectives, I'm going to start with the objectives. So my objectives are 3 in number. The first one, to assess the contribution of the women's group over the resources in the community. Number 2, to find out the mechanism that enabling the women to participate in the community development. Then number 3, to analyze the challenges that women groups are facing in the community. So this is all about the chapter 1. So I'm going to chapter 2. Chapter 2 is all about the literature review. And literature review is just based on the ideas of the different scholars. So there's not much for me to talk of it. Then we write to chapter 3. Chapter 3 is about research methodology. Research methodology, I'm just going to talk about the population of the study or the target population. And the target population of my research was 100. And sample size was 40. And under the collection of the data, I used 2 sources. One is the primary source. Under the primary source, I collect the information using the observation, using the questionnaires and implementations. So coming to the secondary source. Secondary source is the source in which the information can be collected through internet, textbook or library, or have the written form of the documents. So this is all about the chapter 3. Then we come to chapter 4. Chapter 4 is concerned about the result discussion or the result analysis. So the method that I used during the collection of the data of my research was SPSS software, in which SPSS is stand for Scientific Package of the Social Sciences. So this is the method of the software that I used during the collection of my data. So let me come to chapter 5. Chapter 5 is contained of many subtopics. So within the subtopic that I have, number 1 is the introduction, summary, conclusion, recommendation, suggestion for the further research, then references and the appendices. So within the recommendations, I have only 5 recommendations. So I'm not going to talk of all of them. I'm just going to talk of 3. 2 only? Yes, 2 only. So the number 1 within my recommendations is the entrepreneurship training of the women group on the macro and micro businesses that should be introduced by the private sector and the government to raise the income of the women group in their community. Come to number 2, the cultural beliefs to be stopped on the women group by the government and community leaders within the community to give a chance for the women to participate in government levels. So brothers and sisters, these are some areas that I have or present to you. So now the stage is open for your questions, and thank you very much.
Thank you.
الحماس غطي على خطأ.
This is what we want.
You can present. حتى لو في شوية أفكار كده ده معلم.
This is what we want.
Talk about your work.
Yes.
أقرأ كويس شوف.
Questions. ما بيزول into questions?
No question. No question. For me, I'm satisfied.
ما بيزول into questions?
أنا مشيت برا وجيت ما سمعت زاد وقاعد أقول شو ناسي. الحين صوته ده زاد كيف؟
يا sorry I'm
صوته كده حماس.
خلاص finish.
Okay.